Hello, and welcome into Vtube Studios. Okay, this video is more for the VTubers, but if you watch VTubers, you get to see a little bit of the background stuff that goes specifically into live 2D VTubers. Okay, this is Vtube Studios. If you're a VTuber, you're pretty familiar with the layout. Okay, you got your lovely things like your models, your items, your abilities to lock, your model, your settings, your logs, and your quote unquote multiplayer. Okay, and you have a bunch of things, but today we're going to be talking about text triggers. I personally have a small community and I love me some text triggers. Okay, so text triggers are basically redeems that you don't have to use channel points for. You use these by typing a specific word in chat. I don't believe they're cap sensitive now that I've been dealing with them for a while, but you go to this one. Okay, and I'm gonna set up my sub only text trigger for bald because I promised that I would do that. Okay, okay. So for an expression, you'll have to do this differently for whichever one you want. I'm gonna go name this bald subtext. Oop, I don't care enough. Okay, so you're gonna do hotkey action, and you're gonna set it up as a set and unset expression. This is if you're doing expressions. If it's an item scene or an item, you're gonna do toggle item scene. If it's a visual effect, you're going to do load visual effect. If it's something else and you know what you're messing around with, do that. Color presets are pretty common. Mess around with those. I recommend looking into plenty of tutorials. I'll be doing more. If you have any recommendations of tutorials I should do, then do that. Okay. This one is going to be my expression for bald. Okay. Then we're going to pick the expression, the item scene, the visual effect preset, whatever. Okay. And we're going to set time. Make sure you set a time for this. Okay? Otherwise, it's going to go on forever. I'm going to do half the amount of time, 30 seconds. Okay, so it's not quite a minute. Okay, text triggers. You do got to be careful with because if you have a very active chat or active community and people that aren't as quote unquote responsible, I guess, would be the only option or the only word I can think of, then these might not be a good idea unless you're going to be restricting them, as I am going to be doing with this one. I have a whole list of text triggers for my chat because I don't have a lot of them that actually do the text triggers or that chat enough yet. So mine, I don't worry about. If you're a bigger streamer, you might want to change the numbers of these or restrict who all can do this. Because for text triggers, you do Twitch text trigger. Okay, type in words, any word that would be this. So in this case, bald. God, I wish I could spell. And then you can do restrict text trigger. Now, obviously, don't make it only you. You're not typing your own chat. Okay, but make sure you can. In case, I don't know, just make sure. For this, I'm going to be doing subscribers, but if you don't want to restrict it, make sure you don't toggle this on. But if you do need to restrict it, you could do your mods, you could do VIPs, you could do people you mark as artists, like your artists. You could do specific people between these two. But if you wanted it to be the whole chat, just make sure you turn this off. Don't restrict it. Okay. This I'm going to do specifically for subs because I said I would. Okay, so now bald is a text trigger for subs. You can do this with any other thing. Preferably, this is more for stuff that you don't really think is worth having as a whole ass redeem. Like these are colors that are simply text triggers for the regular chatters. They just changed the color of my model for a brief like 5 seconds. Okay, So these are for things that aren't like worth making redeem, but you want to have them, or an extra incentive for people to chat in your chat, or if you have a bunch of people that you enjoy and want to give them an extra ability. Like I have one for Barry, who is indeed a mod and a sub. So obviously. But because he has become part of the channel and has become somewhat of a chaos friend of ours, he got his own little text trigger. So anyone types Barry in the chat, we get this. Okay. Those we can go over if anyone is curious how to make that work. We could do that. And then that's pretty much it for text triggers. Make sure you know your community and if you make sure your community can handle stuff like that. If you do really crazy text triggers, that they can spam those because there's no like limitation on it. Okay, so my dumb idiot realized there was a cooldown option. So if you are afraid of spamming, you could set a cooldown option. Anyway, that's basically all. If you need any other tutorials on Vtube Studios, I'd be happy to do those. But any recommendations, if this helped you, yeah, that's basically it. Goodbye.